Your speech.
One of the choices we had in discussing with the president was whether we could postpone the budget or we could postpone the trip. We decided that we could not postpone any of the two. And as you can see in terms of the program of parliament, the NCOP will be deliberating on the appropriation bill at exactly on the deadline on the 30th. Was also not with us. For long commitments he undertook before this day was agreed upon. Cabinet colleagues, members of the Executive Council, the revised information on the 2025 estimate of national expenditure, the 2025 budget review published on the 12th of March and re-tabled here as a key policy reference. Update Annexure A of the March 2025 budget review. Update statistical annexure to the March 2025 budget review. The 2025 budget overview and the 2025 budget speech. The documents tabled here today are additional to the bills previously tabled, namely the 2025 ESCOM Debt Relief Amendment Bill, the 2025 Public Sector Pension and Related Payments Bill, the 2025 Revenue Laws Amendment Bill, the 2025 Rates and Monetary Amounts and Amendment Revenue Laws Bill. Madam Speaker, before I can proceed, I must say even Dr. Kairam Hopper has accepted that the victory of Kaizer Chiefs is of national importance.
Order, honorable members, don't divide the House. The game was a very good game. Let's not talk about the scores. Let's proceed with the budget.
Madam Speaker, a national budget is not merely an accounting exercise measuring what we earn and what we spend and what we borrow as a nation. It is a reflection of the difficult trade-offs needed to balance fiscal sustainability while simultaneously addressing the developmental goals. It is unsurprising then that the increase to value-added tax proposed on March 12 created so much debate. A vital debate, no doubt, but one that also created some uncertainty. There's clarity now that will remain at 15%. The decision reflects our commitment to listen to South Africans and to all the political parties represented in this House. Today's budget has taken these views into account. This is what the past 2 months have provided valuable lessons that will inform how we manage the budget process moving forward. The reality, however, is that the decision to do away with the VAT increase without a viable alternative source of revenue significantly reduce our ability to fund additional government programs and projects to the extent we had deemed necessary. Nevertheless, this budget supports sustainable finances, the social wage, investment in economic growth. This is not an austerity budget. It's an expansionary budget. It increases non-interest expenditure by an average of 5.4% over 3 years. In real terms, this is 0.8% growth. It is also a redistributed budget. It directs 61% of every rand of consolidated non-interest expenditure towards the social wage. This is money that will be spent to fund free basic services like electricity, water, education, healthcare, affordable houses, as well as social grants for those in need. This budget invests over 1 trillion in critical infrastructure to lift economic growth prospects and improve access to services. Madam Speaker, this is done without compromising the fiscal strategy of sustainable public finances. We have achieved this difficult balance by reducing additional spending over the medium term by 68 billion rand. Let me repeat because there's confusion. We are saying by reducing additional spending is not cutting budget. There's a difference between the two. There's a difference between the two. What we've been fighting over these 3 months has been by how much we should increase budget, not by how much we should be cutting the budget. So what is being reduced is additional spending. These reductions are primarily aimed at provisional allocation, not yet assigned to votes. Simply put, this means baseline allocations across all spheres of government remain largely unchanged. Instead, the size of the proposed increase to allocation is reduced in line with what we can afford. Our focus going forward is threefold. Our focus, as I've indicated, is threefold: balancing the budget through spending efficiencies, strengthening revenue allocation, and giving expression to the medium-term development plan. This undertaking is not insurmountable if we work together, stay focused, and persevere to chart a better course for our economy and our people. Turning to the economic outlook, Madam Speaker, much has changed since our last appearance in this House. The most
their smartphones, you need to make smart choices, like using Sunfoil triple refined pure sunflower oil in every meal you make. It's naturally cholesterol-free and approved by the Heart and Stroke Foundation as part of a balanced eating plan. So whether you're cooking, frying, or baking, you get the great tasting results that'll get their attention faster than the latest app. And if that doesn't work, change the Wi-Fi password. Sunfoil. Now we're cooking.
World-class financial services only at Sapphire Global, your financial partner. If you are looking for Islamic, Sharia, and ethical financial products, look no further. Sapphire Global offers a wide range of financial service offerings from short-term to life and investments. A full-service center with all financial requirements under one brand. Our highly skilled and experienced consultants are ready to help protect your financial future. Contact us on 041 001 0184 or visit our website on www.sapphireglobalfs.com. Sapphire Global is an authorized financial services provider.
This Eid al-Adha, donate your Qurbani through Africa Muslims Agency. We ensure that your Qurbani not only feeds the poor, but creates sustainable incomes for local farmers, teaches the practice of sacrifice to villagers, and shares the spirit of Eid. Sponsor in South Africa for 2,950 Rand, Africa for 2,000 Rand, Afghanistan at 4,500 Rand per share, or other countries around the world. Donate your Qurbani with AMA and know that your sacrifice brings the mercy of food, empowerment, and joy to communities in need.
Valley's Motor Spares. We supply motor spares and accessories for all makes and models of motor cars, LDVs, bakkies, trucks, and earth-moving equipment. We deliver on time, every time. Please contact us via WhatsApp on 014-592-0925 or call 014-592-0925 or visit 28 Zenderling Street, Rustenburg. Remember the name, Valley's Motor Spares.
Abu Huraira narrated that he heard the Prophet Muhammad, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, say, "In black seed there is a healing for every disease except death." Experience the health benefits of this ancient blessed seed by using the Tib Black Seed range. Black seed assists the body to boost immunity, regulate blood sugar levels, reduce inflammation, and act as a potent antioxidant. Experience a holistic approach to health by introducing the Tib Black Seed range into your routine. Available in capsules, pure cold-pressed oil, and a vapor rub. Trust Tib Health Sciences for quality black seed products. For more information, visit blackseed.co.za. Available at leading pharmacies.
Listen to something fresh. Listen to Salam Media. Breaking stereotypes, moving boundaries, joining hands. Salam Media. Humanity sets the agenda.
بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على عبد.
Breaking stereotypes, moving boundaries, joining hands. Salam Media. Humanity sets the agenda.
Thank you, colleagues, for that. The president has also undertaken to establish a committee between the president and treasury to identify wasteful, inefficient, and underperforming programs. I call upon all ministers, MSs, DGs, HODs, and every official responsible for public funds to embrace these efforts and play their part. Madam Speaker, the division of national raise revenue will see 2.4 trillion of total non-interest spending allocated to provinces over the medium term. Municipalities will receive 552.7 billion over the same period. Of course, if I may just pause, there's always a disagreement between the different spheres as to who gets a better share of this. That's a battle. SALGA has undertaken a study which says 40% must go to municipalities. I said that's a battle between the different spheres. All I have is the envelope. As long as you can find each other within that envelope, I don't have a problem. So the split addresses the fiscal realities faced by provinces and local governments. The allocations will fund provided for the free to needy households, for free to needy households. In 25-26, 83% of the local government equitable share provides for a free basic service package of 610 per month to 11.2 poor households. Honorable members continue to be a key tool for reducing poverty and inequality, raising living standard and facilitating access to greater economic opportunities. The reality is that sustainable local government finances does not depend merely on enforcement mechanism, but on delivering genuine value to communities. Declining revenue collection rates are often a function of the quality of the services. Municipalities must recognize that quality service delivery is not just a constitutional obligation, but also a cornerstone of their financial viability. Tackling corruption remains a major priority of all arms of government. We're making progress in pushing back against action that is compromising our national interests. In addressing the scourge of corruption, the National Prosecuting Authority, through its asset forfeiture unit, adopted a broader and aggressive anti-corruption strategy that has yielded financial injection to the fiscus. In the past 5 years, the asset forfeiture unit has recovered over 5 billion paid into the victims of crime and criminal asset account, which is called CARA account. With regard to state capture related cases, the asset forfeiture unit obtained freezing orders amounting to 14.2 billion, with 8 billion recovered and paid into the CARA account. We make these issues, colleagues, we've decided to point this information out because it's not out there to the public. There's a tendency that says nothing is being done. And I think we need to put this information into the public domain. Madam Speaker, quality infrastructure investment expands the productive capacity of the economy and responds to the diverse needs of the citizen. Infrastructure is also a rich source of jobs in construction, engineering, and related industries across a range of skill levels. It is for this reason that infrastructure is the fourth pillar of the growth strategy. And this budget demonstrates our resolve to change the composition of spending from consumption to investment. Allocation towards capital payments remain the fastest growing area of spending by economic classification. Public infrastructure spending over 3 years will exceed 1 trillion mark. The key question all of us should be thinking about, if we're to spend this amount efficiently and effectively, the impact on the economy would be massive. What we should be grappling about when you leave this room, all of us, grapple about when you leave this room, is not whether the economy is not creating growth and so on. It's the question, how do you make sure that this money is spent effectively and efficiently? That's the debate. This spending will focus on maintaining and repairing existing infrastructure, building new infrastructure, and acquiring equipment and machinery. It will also focus on 3 sectors: transport and logistics, energy, and water and sanitation. Of the 402 billion rand for transport and logistics, 93 billion is for the South African National Roads Agency to keep our 24,000 kilometer national road network in active maintenance and rehabilitation. 53 billion rand is for the maintenance and refurbishment of the provincial roads. These investments will remain our extensive road network, will maintain our extensive road network in good condition, allowing for easy access and movement of freight and people within the country and beyond. 66.3 billion is allocated to PASA, out of which 18.2 billion is for the rolling stock fleet and renewal program, and 12.3 billion is provisionally allocated for renewal of signaling system. I like the signaling system, if I may pause. I like that. I can see Honor Leshego said, because what we're talking about is the speed with which trains in our communities and townships will change. Instead of waiting for 30 minutes or so for a train, we'll have a train probably in every 15 minutes. You know, the EFF colleagues remind me of the time when cell phones were introduced. I was still in COSATU, so Jayandra Knight would come to us, he was in the negotiations, would come to us and tell us about what the cell phone is going to do. Even you are in the field, you're going to take this thing from your banklet in rural areas. I said, hey, but how can this be possible? This is going to happen, is not a tale. The spending will sustain progress in rebuilding the infrastructure to provide affordable commuter rail services. This will enable PRASA increase passenger trips from 60 million in 24-25 to 186 million to the end of the MTF period. Access to safe, reliable, and affordable commuter service is critical for low-income earners who spend more than 50% of their income on transport. You know, before I go to the energy sector, I made an example last time on the 12th, except that you didn't accept what I was trying to say, but let me repeat it. I made a comparison last time and said, the World Bank has published something which compares the worker from South Africa, same amount of money, and said a South African worker will end with a disposable income less. And it says why? Because the cost of transport for the South African worker is higher than the Indonesian worker. That's the difference. So it's quite important that if you are of concern about poor people, these things should be of interest to you. The energy sector will invest 219 billion rand. I couldn't count their numbers until Minister Ramkhopa came. He's more expensive than I've had other ministers previous.
Order, honorable members, let's allow
They
Minister
are,
to continue.
I'm old enough for him, so it's not a problem. So the 219 billion on strengthening the electricity supply network from generation to transmission and distribution. This includes investment in renewable energy projects, which continue to contribute to stabilizing the power supply, resulting in reduced load shedding. Efforts to connect more renewable energy projects to the grid and expanding the transmission network through a multi-line transmission package remain on track. The water sanitation sector will spend 156.3 billion on expanding our water resources and service infrastructure, including dams, bulk infrastructure, servicemen, factories, and farms. Honorable members, maintenance is important to prolong the life of our infrastructure assets, in addition to ensuring that infrastructure services are reliable and not unnecessarily interrupted. This is the reason our budget emphasizes the aspect of, in addition to building new infrastructure, to further support infrastructure delivery and improve spending efficiencies, the National Treasury continue to implement reforms that will facilitate greater private sector participation in the public infrastructure. The new regulations from public-private partnership were gazetted earlier this year and will take effect next month. These will reduce the procedural complexity of undertaking PPPs, increasing the deal flow and allowing government to leverage its limited resources to fast-track infrastructure provision. The National Treasury has developed enabling guidelines and framework to support the new guide regulation. Specifically, the unsolicited proposals framework will create clear rules for managing proposals from the private sector, and the framework for fiscal commitments and contingent liabilities will strengthen fiscal risk governance. These regulations and frameworks will be published in the next few weeks. The recently established private sector participation unit of the Department of Transport and Transnet are making progress in engaging the market on PSP's project. The PSPs will resolve and improve some of the critical logistic bottlenecks, win the elections first. In March, a request for information was issued for the ore, chrome, coal, and manganese lines. In April, a request for qualification was issued for the establishment of an independent rolling stock leasing company. Madam Speaker, the budget facility for infrastructure has been effective in supporting quality investment. It does so by reviewing proposals for feasibility, viability, and cost effectiveness. To date, 52.9 billion in additional funding has been unlocked through this process. To scale up this success, the BFI has been reconfigured to accept proposals quarterly rather than annually. In this regard, I'm pleased to confirm that processes of issuing our first infrastructure bonds in 2025-26 remains intact. We are exploring alternative financing instruments to allow pension funds, commercial banks, development banks, and international financial institutions to participate in financing our infrastructure plans. These reforms, Madam Speaker, are how to plan to leverage infrastructure investment to ease supply-side constraints to the economy and improve access to social service the people get. Honorable members, today is about delivering on the hope for a better life, a better future. It is an attempt to meet our shared goals of redistribution, redress, and structural transformation. This budget supports economic activity while raising future economic prospects, direct spending toward the social wage, and invest in state capability and critical infrastructure. All the while promoting fiscal sustainability so future generations are not burdened by the decisions we make today. We are not there yet, but I believe there's consensus in this House that around the country that this is the destination we need to strive for. The recent events have shown us that political debate is part of any vibrant democracy, and that this is not about differences on these goals, but about how they can be achieved. The debate and negotiations have deepened our understanding of policy trade-offs and institutional processes while giving citizens unprecedented visibility into our democracy's evolutions. Negotiation, debate, and compromise, as we have seen unfold over the last weeks, has been a necessary, if sometimes painful, investment in the productivity of future government reform in the new political environment. We have all gained a better, deeper appreciation of each other's policy positions and which trade-offs each of us is willing to contemplate. As parliamentarians, we have been forced to gain closer knowledge of the various institutional processes that govern the budget cycle and is passing into law. The public has had a front row seat to the growing pains of vibrant and committed democracy. This is a good thing. Our journey towards national prosperity belongs to every South African. Speaker, as I close, allow me to express my gratitude to the President, Deputy President, who are not with us today, and I forgot in my salutation to greet the acting president, who was unfortunately some weeks ago, was also an acting president, but unfortunate for 3 hours. He was already telling us in those 3 hours, uba kungoko kuphethe mna ngoku. He was in my office this morning. He was suspicious. He was promising to do some reshuffle. So congratulations, Kwat. President and Deputy President, I have to thank them for their support. Our country with them is in safe hands. My appreciation also goes to my 2 deputy finance ministers and the National Treasury team led by the Director General, Dr. Peterson. They have all helped to shape tremendous workload. As they say, many hands make a light work.
Order.
Before that, thank you to the Commissioner of the South African Revenue Services, the Governor of the South African Reserve Bank, and also thanks you to the Financial and Fiscal Commission for their support. Thank you. And my cabinet colleagues. And inkosikazi yasemachaweni, unkosikazi wam, ichoke iguqele kaChalbonge kwekwengu.
Thank you, Minister. Order, honorable members. The papers tabled by the Minister will be referred. Order. Order, honorable members. The papers tabled by the Minister will be referred to the relevant committees. I request members to stand and wait for the presiding officer and the maids to leave the chamber. Order, order, honorable members. The House has not been adjourned. Order. Can we now allow the presiding officer and the maids to leave the chamber?
adjourned.
And that concludes the business of the day.